Number 3 says Leor was asked to repaint the sign for his mother's ice cream shop. So he needs to figure out how much paint he will need. Determine the area of the ice cream cone on the sign. Round to the nearest tenth. So we have an ice cream cone, okay? So again, this is a composite figure because this is a figure that is made up of 2 or more shapes. So I always call it, a funky looking shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this shape and divide it into, I'm going to divide it into a triangle and a semicircle, okay? So let's start with the semicircle. I'm going to start the semicircle. I'm going to look over here at my area of a circle formula. Now, since it's a semicircle, the complete circle would be area equals pi r squared. But since it's a semicircle or a half circle, you have to put half in front of the formula. So area equals half pi r, which stands for radius, then squared. So let's fill in what we know. So if we look at our ice cream cone, we're doing the semicircle first. So we're going to drop down half. We're going to turn pi into what it really is, which is 3.14. And we're going to multiply it by our radius. So the radius, the full circle, the diameter is 6. The radius is half of the diameter. So half of 6 is 3. And then that's what you square. Now, if you follow your PEMDAS, you know that you have to do your exponent first. So I'm going to drop down my half times 3.14, which is pi, and then 3 times 3 is 9. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to combine by multiplying my 3.14 and my 9. So I'm going to go off to the side, do 3.14 times 9. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. Now here's my decimal. I have 2 numbers to the right of my decimal, which means I'm going to count 2 numbers and put my decimal right there. So I'm left with half times, when I multiplied those together, I got 28.26. Now all that's left is to take 28.26 and multiply it by half. Now you can choose. You can either do 28.26 times 0.5 or 28.26 divided by 2. I always do times 0.5 because I prefer to multiply rather than divide. Okay, 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 1 is 41. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Now, go back up here to my decimals. I'm going to count 1, 2, and 1. So it's 1, 2, 3. And that's how many I'm going to move it over. 1, 2, 3, and put a decimal. So then the area equals 14.13. And that's for the semicircle. Now the triangle. The area of a triangle is area equals half times the base times the height. So we're going to bring down our half. The base of our triangle right here is 6. So half times 6. And the height of the triangle is 12. So area equals, so 6 times 12 is 72. So I'm going to bring down my half times 72. Then I'm going to do half times 72. I'm just going to do 72 times 0.5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 is 36. I have one place over from my decimal, so I'm going to move my decimal to over one place, and my area of my triangle is 36. So if my area of my semicircle is 14.13 and the area of my triangle is 36, to find the total area, you just take 36. I'm going to add 0.00, so I'm lining it up correctly with my 14.13. Add it together. and I get 50.13. But it did say to round to the nearest tenth, so that would just be 50.1. 0.1, and this was measured in inches, so it's going to be inches squared. And stop.